relative to matrix multiplication. What is order of G? And then part B. Let H be the subgroup, that is H is a subset of G and the binary operation is same, matrix multiplication of G of part A defined by this equation or definition. It is the set of those matrices in G such that AD minus BC is equal to 1. So here also we will be required to find the order of each. What is order of H? Okay, so let us now see the general solution. Even though we have a general prime and the solution is somewhat more complicated than the previous one, but it follows the same pattern as the previous one. So if you have understood the previous one, you will understand this one. So part A. The number of matrices A, B, C, D, where the entries are coming from JP, their integers modulo P is, by now you already know, there are P choices in JP. Let's just write that also, just for the sake of seeing, like how we saw the other number systems. We don't know what P is, but it is some prime. So there are P choices for each of these entries. So the total number will be P to the power 4. Is P to the power 4. This is almost immediate. However, now comes the difficult part. We have to now figure out in how many ways we can have AD equal to BC. Okay. We can have AD equal to BC equal to 0, where now again I am saying this 0 is something different from what we had previously. This 0 is the set of all integers that are divisible by the prime P. If P is 2, this 0 will be the one that we got in that exercise, the first exercise. First means 24th exercise. And if P is 3, we get this one, the 25th one. However, P is any prime. Okay, so then we can have this to be true in the following ways. Oh, in the following ways I am going to write. That will be extremely difficult to write it in this way. We can have this if and only if. Okay, let me write it like this: if and only if AD, BC. This is an ordered pair where we have AD and BC. It belongs to this set. Both of them can be 0. Okay. Oh, what am I writing? Hold on. I think I have confused myself. I want to write AD equal to BC equal to 0. Okay. Then of course both of them will be 0. What the hell am I writing? Then AD and BC will both be 0. So what I wanted to write is something else. Oh yes. Just AD equal to 0. Excuse me. In the following ways. A can be constantly 0. B changes. Okay, or A can B can be 0 and A changes. One of them we already have it here, so we are not writing it once more. So this is equal to 0. And then P minus 1, 0 is equal to 0. Okay. Similarly, we can have BC. So the number of ways of having AD equal to BC equal to 0. Yes, now we can calculate the number of ways of having this equation to be true. Both sides are 0. Okay, how many possibilities are there? Let us just calculate that first. If we start counting from here, from this equation, 1, 2, 3, etc. up to P minus 1, we have P minus 1 possibilities. Just like that, after that, from here to here, we have still P minus 1 more possibilities and one extra. So AD itself can be 0 in this many ways. P minus 1 plus P minus 1 plus 1. So this is 2P minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. This is the number of ways only AD can be 0 or only BC can be 0. So together they can both be 0 in 2p minus 1 whole square number of ways independent of each other. You can choose any one of these possibilities for either of them. Okay, so that's why we have to multiply. In 2p minus 1 whole square, number of ways we have already written. Okay, but this is only one situation. Here we can have, apart from 0, we can have congruence class 1 or 2 or 3, so those things are still there. So for them, what shall we do? Let's see what we can do. This, however, we cannot do by considering 1 and 2 and then 3, because now p is general, so we have to take a general integer between 1 and p minus 1. For the case 0, we have already calculated. This is the number. Now let I be any integer let I be any integer satisfying this. Now we do just like this, a calculation like this, however not by listing the possibilities. We consider the equation AB equal to I, congruence class I. We now calculate the number of solutions of AD equal to I in JP. That means A and D will now come from JP. They are coming from JP and we now have to figure out how many possible ways we can have AD equal to I. And this is a place where a result of group, I mean, so far we have not got any major results in group theory. We have only got two lemmas and some isolated facts. One of them allows us to calculate with elements in a group, that is, which tells us that there is a unique identity, unique inverse to every element and those things. The other one, if you remember, it is lemma 232, which says that equations like this, if A and B are given, have unique solutions in a group, and from these we were able to conclude that the two cancellation laws are also true. Now this is a place where we will need this, and the thing goes like this. Since JP minus 0, if from JP we remove the zero congruence class, is itself a group, under multiplication mod P, and we have already proved this fact in this set of exercises itself. You go back to exercise 15 and part A of that exercise. Okay, there you will have the fact that this is a try to recall the non-zero integers mod p form a group under multiplication modulo p. It's that exercise. So this is a group lemma 232 implies AD equal to I has a unique solution D belonging to Jp minus 0 for each A belonging to Jp minus 0. So what we have said here is, see that Jp minus 0 is a group under multiplication modulo p, or under the multiplication that we have in this equation AD minus BC. There AD is that product, in that product the multiplication is the multiplication mod p. And you see that in this equation A and D are coming from Jp minus 0. None of them can be 0, because if one of them becomes 0, then AD will be equal to 0. We would then have this. However, since I lies between 1 and p minus 1, this is not possible. Okay, so that's why A and D are both coming from Jp minus 0. Now if you treat D as a variable, then you have this, an equation in this group where this is the variable and these two things are given. So if you choose A, then for that particular choice this equation has a unique solution, and that is coming from that lemma 232 where we have Ax equal to B. So each of our choices for A leads to a unique solution D for this equation. That means once you choose A from here, D is already determined, D is fixed, you cannot change D. And there is only one D, there is one and only one D for each A. That is the important thing we have to notice here. Okay. So having noticed that, we are now ready to write the number of ways of having this. So the number of solutions of AD equal to I in Jp is p minus 1, because you choose A to be say 1. For this there is exactly 1 D. You choose A to be 2, for that also there is exactly 1 D. For A there are p minus 1 choices, removing the 0 we are left with p minus 1 choices. So the total number of ways you can have AD equal to I in Jp is p minus 1. Okay. Note that this number is just like calculating that number, this 2p minus 1. Here we have p minus 1. Now we can calculate in how many ways we can have AD equal to BC equal to I, just like we calculated this here where we had 0 in place of I. So or let us not write total, the solution ain't over yet. So the number of ways of having AD equal to BC equal to I in Jp is p minus 1 whole square, because now we are choosing AD and BC independent of each other, and each one can be chosen in p minus 1 ways. So the total number is p minus 1 whole square. But now we vary one more thing. We now vary this I also. This I has so far been fixed arbitrarily between 1 and p minus 1, including these two, however fixed. Now if we vary I also, what will happen? If we, okay, I don't want to erase this part, let's just keep it for the number. If we now vary I also, the number of ways of having AD equal to BC equal to I, where I lies between 1 and p minus 1 is, okay, so how many choices for I? P minus 1, see, from 1 through p minus 1. So the total number will be p minus 1 whole square times p minus 1, because for I equal to 1 you will have p minus 1 whole square, for I equal to 2 again p minus 1 whole square. So p minus 1 such choices gives us this many choices, p minus 1 whole cube. So now we are ready to calculate the order of G. Hence, but before that let us just write the total number of holes. So hence the number of solutions of AD equal to BC, and now we are not saying AD equal to BC equal to what, because we have taken into account all the possibilities. If this is 0, then the number is this. If this is something other than 0, then for all such possibilities the total number is this. In JP is 2p minus 1 whole square plus p minus 1 whole cube. Or thus we have order of G can now be obtained by subtracting this number from the grand total. To p minus 1 whole square. Now if you apply a little algebra, elementary algebra, and simplify this expression, it ultimately can be shown to be equal to this. So this is the order of the group. Now let us verify this formula for the two small cases that we had. What happens when we have p equal to 2? For p equal to 2, order of G, so that we can know what we have found is the correct one. We can be sure of that. 2 times 2 minus 1 times 2 square minus 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1, 2 square is 4, 4 minus 1, 3. 3 times 2 is 6. So in exercise 24, the group of the, the order of the group was 6. So correct. What about p equal to 3? If p is 3, then we have 3 times 3 minus 1 times 3 square minus 1. So this becomes 3 times 2, which is 6, and this is 9 minus 1, 8. 6 times 8 is 48. So that's it, we are getting what we calculated there in the special case. So this is true. And now we come to the final portion, part B. For part B also the strategy is just like the previous solution. The solutions of the equation AD minus BC equal to 1, but there we had J3, now we had JP. In JP are these things: 0 minus P minus 1 is 1, okay. 1 minus 0 is 1, 2 minus 1 is 1, like this. If we go on, we will eventually have this, okay. And now we have to calculate each of the possibilities. So here we won't write anything much because we have been going through this for some time. We directly write hence order of H becomes what? If we have the first situation, then this is AD, this is BC. AD can be chosen in how many ways? 2p minus 1 multiplied by the number of ways you can choose. This AD can be the congruence class p minus 1. That we have already calculated for I, and that number is p minus 1 whole square, not p minus 1 whole cube. That was for all the variations of I, where I was a non-zero integer between 1 and p minus 1. So this times p minus 1. So in this is the number of ways we can have AD equal to 0 and BC equal to p minus 1. We can have AD equal to 1 again in p minus 1 ways. Okay, let us just write so that later when we look at these videos once more, you understand. So this is the number of choices for having AD equal to 1. Then BC equal to 0, then again can be obtained in 2 times p minus 1 ways plus. Now what about the other ones? Say this one here. Now I think I have made a mistake, no? This can be chosen in p minus 1 square that many ways. Okay, sorry about that. What about this one? Am I having it correctly? That's what I'm thinking. The number of ways of choosing AD equal to 2. Oh no, I made a mistake. Previously I was correct. We can choose AD equal to I in p minus 1 ways. P minus 1 whole square appeared for AD equal to BC equal to I. Yes, So this won't be squared, this will be p minus 1. Okay, now then for this one we have p minus 1, and for this one we have yet another p minus 1. So here a square appears. But now let's look at the number of equations that we are having from here to this. If we count by this second thing, then starting from 1 and ending at p minus 2, so we have p minus 2 number of equations in this part where 0 does not appear. So this is the order, and it becomes, this is 2 times p minus 1 to p minus 1 plus p minus 1 square times p minus 2, and that ultimately if you simplify everything you get this. You can see that this number is actually a factor here. This number divides this number. Now this is a general theorem which says that in any finite group the order of the group is divisible by the order of any subgroup. This is known as Lagrange's theorem. In group theory we will prove that. And this ends the exercise 26, and it ends this set of exercises. So after this we will, in the next section we will study subgroups, and there we will see Lagrange's theorem also, and many more things. Okay, but we won't get to the next section right after this video, because now we have to go back to ring theory, and simultaneously we will start calculus also. So with this I end this video. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe if you find this contents useful and or interesting. And signing off for today, this is me, Lucifer, from a mathematical room. Have a nice night.